Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USA Prepares. Thank you for being in class with us today. We broadcast 2 hours, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 11 a.m. Central Time. If you'd like to call us, we'll pay for the call. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. Telephone listen line is up 24/7, 605-477-3249. We're on AM, FM, multiple satellites, telephone listen line, YouTube, podcasts, every way you could possibly think of, we're available at USA Prepares. Thank you for being in class. Alex is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. Thank you very much, Alex. Joey is with us. Joe in Michigan. Welcome, Joe.
Hey, good morning, Vince. Good morning, class.
Hey, Joe, you know, I'm watching America falling apart right in front of our eyes. I'd like to give an example. And this is something that Sam's Club and Walmart might want to think about. Might want to think about sharing this with their employees and let them know why we, the villagers, why we, the customers, have had it. So a little over a week ago, Mrs. Finelli and I went into the Sam's Club in Springfield, Missouri, the one we frequent, the one we used to like the best. And I ordered a pair of reading glasses. I had a prescription for them, and I thought, let's get a new pair. So there was a salesperson there who had been there for over 20 years. I've seen him over the years, bought glasses from him before. Everything was great. The employees were wonderful. As a matter of fact, I have 3 recommendations that I filled out for 3 of the employees because they were so well trained, outstanding, right? And so everything went great. So I have these 3 recommendations for, an attaboy, attagirl type awards that I filled out. Well, on Saturday, we got a call from the Vision Center at Sam's Club, and the call came in, your glasses are ready. Great, thanks very much. And I heard the call, my wife hung up, and I said, would you mind calling back and asking them if they can tint those glasses? Because at Walmart, you used to be able to buy a pair of glasses, and if you want them tinted, rose-colored or whatever tint you wanted, they would do it right there in the store. So I just wanted to know if they could do that. So she called, and this young man answered, and she said, my wife, and I was there when she said it, we just got a call from your Vision Center a couple minutes ago. Can you tint the pair of glasses that you just received that we have not picked up yet? Can they be tinted? Hold on. So she was waiting. Wait about 45 seconds, and this young man comes back and goes, what was your question? I looked at, he was on a speakerphone with my wife, and I thought, wow, this guy doesn't have a clue. So she repeated the question. She said, we came in, we bought a pair of glasses, you just called about them, and we'd like to know if you can tint them a light rose-colored tint because my husband prefers that when he uses the glasses when he's reading the screens on his computer. So he came back and he said, you'll have to come in and pay for the tinting before we can do it. And I looked at my wife, I looked at the phone, and I said, let me have the phone, please. So I got the phone, and he was on speakerphone, and I said, what? He said, you'll have to come pay for them before we can do it. I said, have you lost your mind? I have very rarely lost my temper like this so quickly. But here's the point. They're holding my glasses hostage. I've already paid for them, and all I want to know is, can they tint them? And they want me to drive between 100 and 120-mile round trip to pay for them to do it. And I'm thinking, they've got my credit card information. I have an account with them. I'm a club member. And I'm frosted because here's this young guy who has no business being there. And I said, may I talk to, and I named the guy who helped me. I'm not going to use his name, but on the air, but he helped me. And he said, hold on. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Finally, I hung up. And the guy who sold me the glasses called me right back. And I said, you know, that young man has no business working for you. He has no business being there. He has no clue. He's ignorant of the facts. He is between me and your cash register. He's holding me up. He does not know what he's doing. Now, I have a problem with this because it's not like going to Walmart or Lowe's where I'm a guest in their store. I am a paying member. I pay $100 a year to be there, and this guy's got no clue. So I waited about an hour, and by the way, I got I didn't get a real apology like I'm so sorry. I said, but what are you going to do with this guy? What are you going to do? Because if he worked for me, he would have lost his employment 5 minutes ago. So we're going to talk to him. I didn't really get a full apology. I mean, I didn't get, gee, Mr. Finelli, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you know, we hired this guy and he doesn't know what he's doing and he's training and yeah, we should be ashamed of ourselves. That didn't happen. So I waited about an hour and I called the store manager. The store manager wasn't there, but one of the assistants was. And that was the assistant that I met when I ordered the glasses about a week ago. And that was the woman who I explained that I was really impressed with the three people that I mentioned previously. She remembered who I was. And she realized that I was kind, nice, congenial. And I have a meeting with her today and the big boss at Sam's Club. So I'm going to make that 100 to 120-mile round trip again to talk with them and explain why I'm so frosted. And if you go in the parking lot of Sam's Club, you'll find carts everywhere. People abandon their carts and they leave them anywhere they feel like it. Now, it's not the store's fault for that. What I'm saying is I am watching America fall apart right in front of my eyes. You would think that someone who pays between $45 and $100 for a membership at a club would be a little more polite than leaving their cars wherever the heck they feel like it. You would think that if you pay $100 to be there, the employees would know what in the heck they're doing. So I had a meeting with my family before I called the store manager, and I said, let's talk about Sam's Club. Why are we going to Sam's Club? Why are we paying $100 a year to go to Sam's Club? Exactly what do they do? Well, they have a pharmacy. Okay, well, there's plenty of other pharmacies. Okay, so that doesn't count. What else do we go for? Well, they have nice broccoli. Well, other people have broccoli too. That doesn't count. We don't buy meat anymore because the last meat we bought was tainted. Even the dogs wouldn't eat it. It smelled so bad, it was tainted meat. We returned it all. So why are we going? There's only one thing I could think of. We used to buy tires there. Don't buy tires there at Sam's Club anymore. Why? Because I would fill out the form and I'd say the work order and they'd say hand torque, hand loosen lug nuts only. Guy gets on there with his impact gun, zip, and he trashes my wheels. That was unacceptable. Got to meet the store manager about that. They had to pay for the damage to my wheels because of this ignorant, careless tire guy at Sam's Club. So we don't buy tires anymore there. That was maybe 20 years ago. All right, so then what? Batteries. Do we need batteries like, for automobiles? No. No, because the help there doesn't really know much about batteries. So we don't need batteries. We don't need meat. We don't need broccoli. We don't need the pharmacy. There's only one thing that I'd like to buy there. One item. And that's their big bucket of laundry detergent, the dry powdered stuff. That's the only thing. Now, should we pay $100 a year for that? I don't think so. So now the store manager is going to try to figure out, after 26 years of being a happy Sam's Club customer/member, I don't think I want to go there anymore. And I told him I don't even think I want the glasses. Why do I want to go back there? Joey, do you have any comments?
Well, I'm glad your weekend started out nice. You know, I would make it simple for him, because I'm just a simple kind of guy. I would tell him to keep the glasses. I would want a refund on my membership, and I would just say thank you. I mean, there's a lot of other places now. I mean, the question I would ask is society breaking down? Because everywhere you go, there are people that can't chew gum, not chew gum, walk down the crack in the sidewalk. They just can't chew gum. They don't even know. They open the package and they eat it. They're not sure they're supposed to chew it. You know, if they blew a bubble, they would take 2 days to clean their face off. So what is going on? And if this is today, if this is happening to you today in a store, as this progressively gets worse, we haven't seen the food increases due to the weather anomalies we've been having, the floods, the freezing. We haven't seen any of the beauty coming on the horizon. And now we've got a lot of people retiring, I think, and they just want to get away from the madness. Every time I go in a store, I joke with the cashier and I go, wow, I'd hate to be you. And the ones with the glare in their eye, they just smile. They look like Eddie Murphy doing buckwheat. But the real cashiers, they says, we don't even want to be here anymore, because the people are starting to unravel. So if people in the mainstream are unraveling, and you see how your relationships in your family are going, what do you do? What do you do in that day when people come to you for help? And why would you want to help somebody? And are they coming for help, or are they coming to freeload? I mean, I have no more answers. I mean, you and I talk about this kind of things, and the more we talk about it, it happens twice as fast now. It's like we're attracting these kind of goofy people.
Hold that thought. And I'm going to tell you about how many stores Sam's is closing. We'll be right back. Joey's with us. Joey, so according to CNBC, there are 63 Sam's Club locations closing across the country. 63. And Sam's Club is, they stretch from Alaska to Puerto Rico. And some of the stores are going to be converted into e-commerce fulfillment sites. Okay. Walmart is quietly closing stores. That's according to businessinsider.com. And there's a full list of, and I'll post it on the website, class, of the stores that are closing, according to CNBC. We're talking about Walmart. We're talking about San Jose, California, Kansas, South Carolina, Tennessee. The list goes on and on and on. Virginia. It's a big list of stores that are closing. So Sam's Club and Walmart are closing stores. Now, why is that? Well, there's a lot of speculation. Let me tell you another story. So this kind of thing is frosting me. I go to stores and I expect the person in the department or behind the counter to know what in the heck they're doing. But when I find someone like that, it's rare. So I called Walmart's Vision Center, not Sam's Club. I called Walmart. And I got a young man who answered the phone. He answered the phone directly, and I said, hi, my name is Vincent. He told me his name. And I said, so I bought some glasses from you guys in the past, and you tinted them. Do you still tint them? He said, no, we can't do that anymore. And I said, so why is that? He said, well, sometimes we didn't get it right, and the customers got annoyed with us. So now we have them tinted at the lab. And I said, well, I had 2 pairs tinted in the past. You had this machine in the store. He said, yeah, we did. We used to do that. But we can tint them for you at the lab, but we can't tint them for you in the store. I said, so what you're telling me is that it was about cost, and the mistakes that were being made cost money to the store. Is that what you're saying? He said, that's right. I said, may I ask how old you are? And he told me he was in his mid-20s. I said, well, you're a real credit for your generation, because most people your age have no clue. But you do. And when I come into your store, I'd like to ask for you. Would that be okay? He said, that'd be great. So here we have Walmart, where I'm not a member. I don't have to pay to go to Walmart. I can get my glasses there for about the same price, maybe less, actually less. And they know what they're doing. Sam's Club, where I'm paying, the guy's got no clue. So let's fast forward to Home Depot. So I was in a Home Depot in Springfield, and there was a guy with this orange smock on, said Home Depot on it. Said his name was Eric. And I was in the plumbing aisle, and I was looking at the PVC ball valves, and they are these valves that you use for plumbing. You cement them in place. And I was looking for the ones with the blue handles, because blue means cold water. Red means hot water. So I'm looking for them, can't find them. And so I asked this guy for help. And I'm right in the spot. It's not like I'm 5 aisles over. I'm right there in the right spot. And I asked him, and so he says, well, let's look. And I'm kind of confused, like, why doesn't he know? Because he was stocking the shelves. He said, well, I don't know everything about this department because I'm in the lawn and garden department. I know everything about lawn and garden, but I'm just filling in here at plumbing. I said, okay. So you know everything about lawn and garden. I said, you know those bags of fertilizer? And yeah, he nods, I said, well, they've got numbers on those bags of fertilizer. And they have numbers like 10, 6, 4, 10, 10, 10. So, Eric, what does that mean? He said, well, one of them is, and he got it all wrong. I said, Eric, that's 2. You got it wrong twice. You don't know what you're doing in this department, and you don't know about your department. I said, but I'm from headquarters. I've got your name. I'm going to report you. He melted down. He almost wet his pants. Now, I was only kidding him about that. But here's another example of people who are in our way that have no clue, and these companies hire them anyway. I'm frosted. So what am I going to do? I'm going to vote with my wallet. Joey, when we come back, you've got the floor. I'm going to try to be quiet. I'd love to hear what you have to say about all this. America's falling down right in front of our eyes. And we're paying for it. Joey's with us. We're talking about America falling apart right in front of our eyes. You're watching it. You're seeing it, I'm sure. Joey, your comments. You got the floor.
Well, Vince, it's like an uncharted territory we as a country have never seen. Maybe our grandparents have seen it. That's why they came here, because they left similarities. But today, nobody seems to want to be held responsible. And it doesn't matter, because if you don't show up, Uncle Sam is going to send a check, right? And if you have been one of the minions that enforce the stupidity that Sambo produces, I don't know, what happens? They get rewarded. $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 per month. They believe they call it retirement. And then they have to take that money from those that are still working. And at some point, when all that money dries up and those people that enforce the stupidity, most of them are now receiving the finest healthcare money can buy. They're what they call a guinea pig now, because the white coat syndrome is now affecting them. I mean, most everybody's got cancer, sugar, diabetes. Alzheimer's seems to be the new one, and I'm sure they'll come up with a few more. So when you ask a question, how do you answer it? This is new territory. I mean, we're almost like Vikings or whatever his name is, venturing to find new worlds. But there's nowhere to go. So now we have to learn how to deal with stupid people. And I'm not really good at that. You're not really good at that. And we have a problem because it seems that there's a lot more stupid people than not. Those that know, they're embarrassed to speak out. I mean, whenever I'm somewhere, I was in a store the other day, and a lady bought vitamins and used a credit card. And the woman cashier says, "Oh, I need to see your ID." "Oh, I think that's wonderful. I think you should do that." And and the woman at the cashier says, "Yeah, there's people that want to fight about it." I says, "Hey, I'd be one of those. You don't need my ID to use my credit card. If I call in on a phone or I do an online purchase, nobody asks for my information, but you see where that's going to go. Eventually, you'll have to have some form of a phone ID because the scum, I can't use any other word, the vomit that produces these laws, that's what's ruined the country. You have no incentive to work and save. You know, I would urge everybody to just quit buying stuff, learn knowledge, because with knowledge, you can always figure out how to get to the next step. But if you were to buy and save and store and produce stuff and just say the economy collapses, the weather gets bad, people will come and rob you. And because you have stuff, they want to actually kill you because they will want you to share with them. And to share is one thing, but to have permanent appendages growing out of your storage bin makes no sense. You know, how many people do you know that go on vacations? And they don't just go on a vacation for a weekend or spend $500. I mean, I don't even know if the people go on a $5,000 vacation. The ones I hear are $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. I don't know where they're going. I mean, I've never been on a vacation for that kind of money. In fact, I've not really ever been on a real vacation in many years. If I go to visit family or friends, and I freeload wherever I can go. You know, get a spot on their couch, you know, buy groceries, take them out to dinner, that kind of a thing, instead of giving the hotel money. And Lord knows when you're sleeping in a hotel, how well that room's been cleaned, but nobody's understanding. When your grandparents, mine came here, they knew there was one person looking out for them. That was them. There was no government going to help them. There was no neighbor going to help them. You know, how many friends do you have today? If you really dig deep down in your heart, will they be your friends in a situation? And if they truly are a friend and they come looking for help, you'd be with open arms wanting to help. But what happens if they bring their friends, and maybe their friends have no concept? They have a form of entitlement. How will you deal with that? And I look at the lesson that you had. I had a similar instance over the weekend at Staples with drool running out of the corner of two people's mouth. Just ask them about copying paper. And I said, you know, thank you. And then I walked out, and I'm laughing as I'm walking out because they shouldn't even be there. They shouldn't. Obviously, maybe if they had a mop, they might be able to clean in the toilets, but that would be giving them an extra credit. The only place they're good to work for is probably a governmental agency where they expect nothing and just pay out money. In fact, sometimes you wonder they just give people money on welfare just so that they don't have to put them behind the counter and slow the progress down even more. But we're coming to that place, I believe. I truly believe we're coming there, and we're here. You know, the weather.
I think, Joe, I think that one of the reasons why we hire so many government people is to keep them off the street. I really believe that. Because if you look at them, they can't make decisions. They're not capable of making a decision. The only thing that government employees do is cite the rules and tell you that they and you will follow the rules. They do not make decisions.
The worst thing, keeping them off the streets, one thing. What I resent is the amount of benefits they receive when they retire. And, of course, they've been promised. I didn't promise that. You didn't promise that. I had a promise, too. I was promised and taught when I was young, even in school, if you work hard and you save for your retirement, you'll have. I didn't know there would be a parasite standing around every corner looking to steal whatever you own, whatever it was, by changing the zoning and telling you can't have that in your yard, by raising the property taxes, by changing this. Oh, hey, we got a different code you can't have, or having an insurance man tell you, hey, you got to cut the hedges on your house Otherwise, we can't give you insurance, even though you don't want the hedges cut. You left them that way for a reason. Makes it harder for somebody to get through them. But no, you've got a person that doesn't live in your area, on your property, help you pay your bills, and he's going to tell you why you're going to do what he tells you to do. So I would urge, and my new consideration is, before I used to think different. I used to think about when I'd watch the old war movies, Germany, and how they dealt with stupid people. But now I have a new theory. It's a very simple theory. Because most of these people are too ignorant and too stupid to figure out what's right, what's wrong. If they got wet, they wouldn't know they should get out of the rain. They don't know they should dry off. So by not doing anything, when the time comes, you just walk away. Hey, let me think about that. I'll get back to you. Hey, you know what? I'll come back in a little bit. I got lost. I couldn't find my way. You'll do one of your Columbos. And it'll be not a problem. And they'll be standing there waiting because you told them you'd come back, because they actually believe, like somebody else told them, if you enforce this, I will give you this money. Well, someday that money is going to die. I think we're at, $22 trillion and growing in the pension, in a debt.
Yes, that's right.
That's the debt. That's the debt that they show. That's not the actual unfunded. That's all the hidden costs. That's just what they have the audacity. And think about when the goofy little man named Bush left office. What was it? $4.5 trillion. Then the other superhero, the Magic 8 Ball, came, and then he left. It was closer to 18 and change. And then by the time Big Hair took over, now we're at 22. And is this a magic show? This is a way to destroy a way of life that we have come to be accustomed to. We grew up in. And we have expectations. When we go to a store, as little kids, we grew up, our parents, our grandparents, we went to the store. There was always a person that could answer a question. That's why they call them a salesperson. And that was their specialty, is figuring out the particular item and the best qualities of that item. Like you used to talk about Sears. And you're right. Today, they're taking a broom and sweeping the parking lot. Whatever they find, hey, you want to work? Great, no problem. How can you put a person? You can't put a person. And if people don't want to learn, because if you can't text them the answer or text them the conversation, they don't even want to speak to you. So you tell me how this gets fixed. I mean, you've got a lot of neat people that listen to the show. I hear a lot of them calling in lately, praising the show, and they're learning. And I mean, we're all learning. But, there's coming a time you're not going to be able to offer your time anymore. There's going to be a time where you or I or both of us are looking for a new place to move to, because we can't trust the people in our area, because the people in our area might think we have more, and when the time comes, they're going to think we're a Walmart store. How is that going to work? How is that going to work? And
I'm already there. Joey, I'm already there. I'm already looking. I've had a meeting with the family, actually several meetings with the family. And here's just one more example of what's wrong, class. And yeah, the Finellis are looking to move. So I was in the O'Reilly's store with our son. We have an account with O'Reilly's. We've had it for years, like maybe 13, 14, 15 years. And we went in, and there were a whole bunch of guys standing around, just lollygagging, getting nowhere. And so I talked to them, and I said, I used to be on your side of the counter when I was about your age. And I opened every single box in the store in between customers, kind of like what, you guys were in between customers till we came in. So the three of you are just standing around talking. I said I opened every box, so when a customer came in and said, hey, do you have one of these? And put it on the counter. And I said, yeah, we have 3 of those. Let me show you. And I'll tell you why each one is priced differently and what the benefits are to each one. I said, have you guys done that? No, they don't pay me enough to do that. So the guys are standing around doing nothing, literally nothing, behind the counter. They don't know the inventory. They really aren't concerned. They don't want to learn. And when the guy was finished with us, we guided him through the process of what we wanted to buy. We signed the sales receipt, and we took the part with us and left. My son turned to me and he said, "Dad, you'd fire them, wouldn't you?" I said, "You're darn right I would. I would have fired them all three of them. I would have fired them." Why? Because they're not paying attention, they don't want to learn, and they have no business being there because they don't know enough about the business. And they think they're not being paid enough. We'll be right back. Joey, you're absolutely right. I currently reside with my family in the corrupt state of Missouri, the Monsanto state, where U.S. Senator Roy Blunt has taken bribes from Monsanto, the company that is and has caused cancers as determined by the U.S. courts. He and Monsanto, Roy Blunt from Missouri. Now, he's a traitor, in my opinion. Now, what's a traitor? I'll define it. A traitor is a person who betrays a friend, a country, a principle. And what are synonyms? Well, a backstabber, a double-crosser, a double-dealer, a renegade, a Judas, a quisling, a fifth columnist, a viper, a turncoat, a defector, an apostate, a deserter, a collaborator, a fraternizer, a colluder, double agent, a rat, a scab. That's what a traitor is, as defined by the internet. Now, I believe Roy Blunt is a traitor to us. He has allowed Monsanto to poison the planet. Here's why I'm saying this. Joey, I got a letter from the United States District Court, Southern District of California, for a retailer identified refund notice. You will receive a full refund for your purchases of certain Morning Song wild bird seed as part of a proposed class action settlement. A federal court has authorized this notice. This is not a solicitation from a lawyer. You have been identified through certain records from Tractor Supply Company, Sam's Club, PetSmart, Menards, or Orscheln Farm and Home, having purchased Morning Song bird food products from November 2005 to 2008. And so what's happened? Let me tell you what's happened. The Scotts Miracle-Gro Company, the world's largest marketer of lawn and garden products, which are sold under a number of consumer brand names, Scotts Miracle-Gro, pleaded guilty in a federal court in Ohio to violation of several environmental laws. Among things, Scotts admitted to selling more than 73 million bags of birdseed that had been treated with highly toxic Storeside 2 and Actelic 5E, two pesticides not suitable for grain intended for consumption by birds. Can you imagine? So if you're wondering why we're seeing fewer birds, let's look at Scotts Miracle-Gro. They have poisoned birds. Storeside 2 contains the active ingredient, I won't pronounce it, which is known to be toxic to birds, fish, and wildlife. Can you imagine that? It causes causes an overstimulation of the nervous system. Small doses of the poison causes symptoms that include nausea, dizziness, confusion, and higher doses lead to respiratory paralysis and death. So where was it sold? Well, it was even sold at Walmart. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? It was also sold, according to what I just read, it was sold at Tractor Supply, Sam's Club, PetSmart, Menards, and Orscheln. 73 million bags. And they pleaded guilty. So here's a company, fertilizer, Scotts, what a great company. Fertilizer, Miracle-Gro, what a great company. You can't trust them. Not only that, you can't trust Sam's Club or any other company to do their diligence to make sure they are not selling toxic products. So if you wonder where the birds and the bees are and the wildlife, these companies are killing them, which in turn is killing us. I want to move. I want to get out of the corrupt awful state of Missouri. Joey, I'd love to hear your comments. I've had it. Roy Blunt should be run out on a rail. Run out of office. But the generally dumb public keeps reselecting him. They've lost their minds. I'm angry. Why? Because they've poisoned the planet through their individual greed and stupidity. And the generally dumb public just goes to ball games. Joey, you've got the floor when we come back. I'm going to take about 5 minutes and lower my blood pressure. We'll be right back. Hour number 2 of USA Prepares. Joey's with us, and I just want to make sure you all know that Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri has contributors from 1995 to 2018. Who contributes? Edward Jones, $302,000. Crawford Group, $293,000. I'm rounding. Goldman Sachs, $199,000. Leggett and Pratt, $178,000. Emerson Electric, $169,000. Monsanto, $147,000. Those are companies you may want to choose not to do business with because they support the guy. They support the guy who's poisoning the planet, in my opinion. And, of course, the opinion of the courts that he is involved in protecting the company that delivers cancer through glyphosate. And we're watching America fall down right in front of our eyes. It's falling apart right in front of us. Waitresses with antennas in their noses and tongues makes me want to get sick. When I see a waitress that looks like that, I leave. May I help you? May I take your order? No, you can't. Impossible. I'm grossed out by what you've just done to your face and your tongue. Waitresses branded in living color with purple and blue and pink and green hair to match. I'm not participating. Joey, you've got the floor, and then Trevor. Trevor's on hold. We'll be right with you, Trevor. Joey, your comments?
You know, Vince, that nice man that's working in behalf of Monsanto and all the freeloaders taking graft, it's okay. Let him take it, because he's got a reward coming. His creator's got a reward for him. And it'll probably be not him, but some person in his family he cares the most about when they get the benefits of a glyphosate or all the other byproducts the contributors have passed on. But, you know, I look at a lot of this as a major distraction. That's why it's all thrown at us. And if you had X amount of time, if you had a crystal ball, and just say you knew in 6 months, 2 years, whatever the time span was, something was going to happen. The solar flare, the weather anomalies, the economic collapse, maybe all of them. What would you find to be more important? Worrying about the money that guy took, or trying to figure out a path that you could go and a location that would be safe for you and your family, and the material and or knowledge you would need to get there. For me, that's all I'm going to focus on. You know, every place I go, it's mayhem and chaos, just like what you've talked about. Whether it's at the stores, Walmart, Sam's Club, Staples, all Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's. I go to those stores. I only buy what's on sale. That's how I reward them. I buy their lost leader. I walk away. Unless I really need something, then I'll shop the price down. But I don't want to waste my time with these people anymore. I don't want to waste my time giving them my energy and my power when I only have so much, and the older I get, the harder it is to use it. So I want to focus on it. I want to use it to my behalf. I want to make it work for me, not against me, and I want to find the plan, wherever that plan is. And if it means I have to go to the middle of nowhere, okay, great. What's in the middle of nowhere? And if I decide I go to the middle of nowhere, what is it I need to take? And is there water? Well, how will I get water? If there is not water, then maybe I don't want to go there. But, I mean, think about those kind of scenarios. And I'll let you get to Trevor.
Well, Joey, I have been working on that. I've been quietly working on that with our family. We've got equipment to move. We've got the trucks to move. We can do it very, very easily. We can move ourselves. We don't have to hire a moving van. We don't need to do anything. We have everything we need. And we have the skills to rebuild. And the question is, what is the very, very best place in the country to move to? To be as free from the parasites who have been living off the hard work of everybody, the traitors, the people who have committed treason against the countries, our country as well as others, the people who have poisoned the planet. I'm talking about the General Electrics. I'm talking about all of these companies who have illegally dumped, illegally treated with toxic chemicals food, whether it be food for animals or food for us. We know what's happening. We know what's happening. I wanted to buy some grain so I could pack it in nitrogen and grind it up. And the guy at the grain company said, do you want to treat it or not? Treat it or not? Well, what's treating? Well, we spray it with insecticide so bugs don't grow out of it. And if we don't treat it, it will have bugs within a couple of weeks. So we're all eating treated grain. We're all eating treated grain. Think about that. Just like the birds, just like this massive, massive settlement by Scott's Miracle-Gro, that company. 73 million bags of intentionally poisoned birdseed. Intentional. There's no other way it could be. And who's involved? Well, the CEO and the top lieutenants. Why? Because to put enough poison in 73 million bags, even the accountant has got to say, whoa, what's all this money from this insecticide company? Whoa. And what about the generally stupid employees that are applying this to the birdseed? What about all these people who are involved in this poisoning of the planet? They are all guilty of poisoning the planet. They should all go to jail first, then prison for ecocide. So I'm looking for a place where that hasn't happened so much.
Well, that place doesn't exist, Vince, because those people, if there is that place, they already bought in 2008 after the collapse, when they were stealing all the money from the last real estate collapse. They took all that money and they went to South America and they bought where the large aquifers are, like where that nice Bush family has the 100,000 acres with the largest aquifer in South America. And that was the big rage in all the papers. Oh, all the hedge funders are moving to South America with their spoils. And nobody says anything, right? So where is it you're going to go? Where is it that's utopia? I mean, utopia is where you can trust your neighbor. And it's getting to be, you can't not trust your neighbor. You can't trust your family. You can't trust your friends. So how does that change? And it changes with you and I. We make the first step. And, focus on what you can do immediately, and let's go to the next step. Rick always has a great point, Rick Miller. It's my favorite point. He says, if you didn't have money, you wouldn't have problems. Because everybody's fighting. When your grandparents came here, how much money did you need? You could live on a porch. You didn't have to pay $6,000 a year in property taxes. You didn't have to pay $2,000 a month rent to live in a house. You didn't have to pay, $4 or $3 a gallon for fuel for a car. You didn't have to pay all this ridiculous money. And all this is, what are all these expenses? They distract you. While you're in the hamster wheel, it's a good thing you brought that up. Simplest plan. You want to get a change, start with semi-truck drivers. Those people are persecuted the most with all the new trucking laws. All they have to do is park a truck from Friday, and not go in until Tuesday. If that don't work, start on a Thursday, take the whole next week off. let's see how the political geniuses, the human vomit that wrecks everything, let's see how they fix the problem. Let's see how much more garbage they want to attach to a semi-driver. Think about, and I really don't care for a lot of them, but there are a lot of good people everywhere. But you get the occasional guy that wants to run you off the road, and I always try to help him by writing his number down and calling his company or calling the police and say, this guy's swerving on the road, you might want to check him out. And I don't do that often, but I do that for special people. But think about, without a semi-truck, this country doesn't work because everything is day-to-day shipments. I mean, the stores are empty in 3 days without that truck. So those are the people that could start to change. Then, like I said, focus on what you can do. If you can grow food, grow food. If you don't know how to grow food, you better learn how to grow food. What the Ice Age farmer and Adapt 2030, those people are saying about the weather anomalies that are here, not coming, they are here. And one of them pointed out, which third world countries are they not feeding to take the food from them to sell them here to keep the happy idiots growing? And when you go into a grocery store today, go check the produce out. Go look at the produce section because that's what you should always focus on. And look how much less produce, how they've widened the aisles out because there's less produce for sale. Because there isn't that much. Because the crops are failing all over. They just haven't pointed it out just yet. Look at those maps of Nebraska, Kansas, South Dakota, that's all flooded and still underwater as of last week. And normally they're tilling fields where they're too wet to till. And then the soil has to be 65 degrees before a seed will germinate. So how's that going to work? What magic show, what rabbit do they have to pull out of the hat? And between the chemtrailing, Dane Wigington, you think about what he does. You think about the time and the effort and the energy he spends to put that out there. And then people laugh, oh, that's exhaust jet fuel. Even when they show the pictures of the giant canisters in the jet, and they're spraying it. And when you see rows, consecutive rows, in two directions, and then you hear the weather thing, what do you think that means? That's not a good thing.
Yeah. Hold that thought, Joey. And Trevor, you're on next. When we come back from this break, you got the floor. America falling apart in front of our eyes. Joey's with us, class. Pretty strong statement. If you're not preparing for America falling apart, you're a fool. Trevor in New York, welcome. And thank you for calling back and patiently waiting on hold.
Oh, thank you for having me back. I'd like to add a synonym to that statement about Mr. Blunt. He's a rat fink, F-I-N-K. And I'd like to state somebody who is not a rat fink, and that is Sheriff Steve Reams of Weld County, Colorado. He stood up for gun rights and will not go along with the red flag bill. He'd rather go to prison, and that's who I want as my neighbor. And on the subject of America collapsing, we may have to form new unions or bring back old unions like the old Texas Federation, and that could save our bacon. What say you about that?
Joey, you want to take it or you want me to?
Go ahead, Vince.
All right. Well, I've got problems. I agree. I agree with you, Trevor. The only problem is I've tried to work with my neighbors. I've asked my neighbors to let me help them lower their electric bill by supporting me as a director of Laclede Electric Cooperative. And one of my neighbors who shares a fence line with us for all the time we've been here in Missouri. Well, geez, boy, it caught me by surprise. Really. All I'm asking him to do is sign a petition so I can run to lower his electric bill. And he's not capable of doing that. He's my neighbor. He's my neighbor. Do you think I want to wave to that guy when I see him coming down the road? Got another neighbor who wants to buy pieces of my farm. Got another neighbor who drops. They have these farmers who don't pay attention. These careless farmers, and not all farmers are nice. They're not. Some are, but some aren't. They drive around with these flatbeds on the back of a pickup truck. So they take the box off and they put this flat deck on. And then they put their stuff on there. They put their barbed wire on there. And there's nothing holding any of it down. Gas cans, the dogs get on the back there. And there's nothing holding anything down. And they drive around, and then there's pieces of barbed wire in the road. There are parts of hoses. There's all kinds of stuff that fall off and puncture our tires because they're careless. So, Trevor, I hear you, but I am a complete, abysmal, abject failure in trying to get people to work together. It's impossible for me to do it. Now, maybe someone else would have better luck. I've had the meetups. I've really tried. I've really tried for 5 years. Every Friday or Monday night, hours and hours and hours of presentations to get people to come learn about preparedness and actually take care of their own families. One guy promised me that he was going to help me weld my my bulldozer, and he's never shown up. It's only a couple years now, and I've seen him in the meantime, and he doesn't have the decency to say he's not coming. So I'm waiting for him. No more. I'm not interested in working with people like this. It doesn't work, Trevor. Really. I wish you're probably the exception. But there are so many people who are willing to take and not give. I've had it with them. I'm out of giving to them. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't even know if I want to be on the radio anymore. I'm sick of it.
I hear you. I really do, and maybe the cure for it is for them to go hungry for a few days and realize how insignificant they are. Because all I see is a bunch of people that want to post on Facebook and talk about this or that, and in the scheme of things, you're really not that important. The earth can wipe you out at any time she wants to. So there's no hope for maybe this country, but I think there's hope for humanity, because I think the class and the instructors are the exception. I really do. I have to have that little bit of hope.
Trevor, I would like to congratulate you on being welcomed aboard as an instructor. In fact, I was one of those that called after the show and just was in awe that someone of your age, not knowing anything about you, your mannerism, everything about you was spectacular. And it was a breath of fresh air. And every time Vince would like to just let somebody else have the show, there's somebody like you pops up, and it brings new life that there are people. And lately there's been a lot more people thanking him for what he does, because everybody takes advantage of it, in my opinion. They don't give, they just take.
Yeah, they need to realize that we're just dust in the wind, as that one song said, right?
Yep, Kansas.
Joey's with us in Michigan. Trevor's with us in New York, both USA Prepares instructors. Bob in Michigan is joining us. Alex, would you put Bob on the air with Trevor so that Trevor, Bob, Joey, and I can all be on at the same time? Could you do that, and I'll just moderate? Okay. Looks like we're doing that. Okay.
Hello.
Here we go. Okay. Bob, welcome. So it's Trevor in New York, Joey, and you and I are on the air. So we'll see if we can not all talk at the same time. So let me moderate. Bob, you've got the floor.
Well, where are you considering moving to?
I'm open to lots of areas, including the Dakotas.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, if you're at all interested in Michigan, I'd be glad to help you out here. I've been looking at properties for a long time now, and
Well, that sounds wonderful. Joey's up there. That sounds wonderful.
Oh, really?
Clint, of course.
Where is Joey?
I'm a couple hours from where you're at, Bob. I think you're on the east side up by the Thumb.
No, I'm in about the middle of the state.
Oh, well,
where are you?
Not far from you, and I'd rather not say, but I don't mind, leave Vince a phone number, I'll call you. I mean, I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Bob, email me your phone number, and I will pass that on to Joey. And you know what? We are becoming more private now. My phone is ringing off the hook. People from all over the world are calling me, and here's the problem. I'm trying to be a farmer. I'm trying to prepare for a move. I need to spend some time with my family. And if you think about it, if there are 200 of us, actually there's more than that, if there are 250 of us, and each person just wants 1 minute, and all I do is go from call to call to call to call to call, that's 250 minutes. If they only want to talk to me for 1 minute a day, I can't do it. I can't do it. So we're all becoming more private, and it's because people have taken advantage of it. They really are. People call me from prison. They expect me to get them out of prison. I didn't get them into prison. A lot of them I don't even know. But Bob, obviously you've been listening to what we've been talking about. What is your reaction to the falling down right in front of our eyes of America? People not knowing what they're doing. Are you seeing that too?
Well, I guess that's due to the corporations taking over rather than, they don't care about people. All they care about is their bottom line, and so everything else suffers. But I don't think you should get too hard on some of these employees. They're doing, they're doing what they can, working for these big companies, and maybe they're not getting all the training they need to get.
Well, okay. Well, Bob, in my defense, I started out behind the counter at an auto parts store, and when I first got there, people would come in. I was the new young boy, and there was an older guy, Tommy, who was there. And people would come in, they'd look at me, and they'd look around, and they were looking for Tommy. And I'd say, may I help you? And they go, I'm looking for Tommy. I'm looking for Tommy. I'm looking for Tommy. And it took me about, a couple seconds to realize that the reason they were looking for Tommy is because they thought Tommy knew more than I did. So I opened up every box in between customers. And it's not like I didn't know about auto parts. I used to race cars back then. I knew about rebuilding engines. I knew about, not everything, but I knew a lot more than the average person my age, for sure.
Yeah.
And I opened up every box. And then pretty soon they wanted me and not Tommy because I knew more about stuff than Tommy did. Because Tommy didn't race cars. I knew more about carburation, ignition advance, compression ratios, bearings, tolerances. I knew more than he did because he was a counter guy and I was a counter guy and a racer and an engine builder. But the difference was I didn't know the inventory.
I would disagree with the education on the corporations, only because I don't care what you do. If you want to do it, you'll do it well. And today, everybody, it's all about the money. It's not. You'll go to college and you'll spend $40,000 and come out dumber than when you entered because you're actually told you're going to be something you're not going to be. Yet, if you work hard at whatever you do and you get efficient at it, the money will always follow once you put the effort forward. But you have to lead by example. You have to put your effort forward, and the money will follow. And when you have the right knowledge, somebody will hire you, and they'll always pay you accordingly because you put the effort forward. You feel that way, Vince?
Absolutely. And not only that, you can go to college thinking you're one thing and come out something else. You can go in a male and thinking, well, you know what? I think I ought to put a skirt on because they told me it's okay. It's okay to be queer. It's okay to wear a dress. It's all okay. And if I want to switch back, I can switch back. Or I can be both. It's nuts.
Well, that's what, and second part of that answer would be, I don't think people understand history. They don't understand what took place in Russia with the revolution, what took place in China, what took place anywhere on the earth when they tore down a civilization. And we're watching it firsthand. But if people just had a little bit of extra effort in schooling, I think they would know better. I think they would have a better idea. And the best video I've ever seen on the Russian Revolution, I can't think, it's something in the sign of Scorpio. That's what it's called. There's a name like Iliada in the sign of Scorpio. It's a Finnish-made movie, so it's in Finland tongue, but then there's you have to read the bottom. And it's very important because when you read it, you really follow it. It'll break down how many people died, what took place, who was involved, where the money came from. And when you start to follow, it is always follow the money. That'll tell you the story. And
look, Joey, Bob's got a company that manufactures speaker grills. So Bob hires one of these millennials, okay? And the phone rings, and Bob's working at the machinery. The phone rings, and this millennial answers the phone and says, hello. And the customer says, I'm looking for a speaker grill for a JBL L100. Do you have them? And the millennial says, hold on. 45 seconds later, the millennial comes back and says, what was your question? Do you have speaker grills for a JBL L100? And he says, hold on. And then he says to Bob, hey, Bob, there's a guy on the phone. He wants to know if we have speaker grills for an L100. And then Bob says, of course we do. They're right over there. We've been making them for years. And so the millennial gets back on the phone, talks to the customer, says, yeah, but you got to pay for it before we'll ship it. How's that going to work? Whatever happened to decorum? Whatever happened to knowing the product, the services? Whatever happened to being polite? These people have either their parents dropped them on their heads and they're damaged, or their parents forgot to teach them about interacting socially with other people and being polite, or they've learned it and they said, you know what, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to be rude and stupid, fat and happy, and I'm going to watch TV.
I don't think they ever learned it. That's the problem. I think their upbringing was different, and it had a lot to do with the schools. And anybody on this earth can defend the schools. They can defend the $4,000 and $5,000, $6,000 pensions. The superintendents get $250,000 a year, and 80% of that they can defend it all. They can defend a school that has 50 kids graduating in their senior class. They can defend a $50 million tax proposal for the next election because they need a better school. Yet they had 50 kids graduate. Defend it all you want. But realistically, it does not work. So defend that. You can defend all you want.
So here's a question for Bob. Trevor's probably too young to be able to answer this, but you're certainly welcome to, Trevor. So when I used to go into a store, let's say 10 years ago, I would look for the young person, the energetic, smiling, happy employee at a store. And I'd say, do you have a whatever, okay? Because the older people weren't really all that interested. The customers were, just there, and they were just there to do a job. Now, I'm looking for the older people because the older people want to be there now, and the younger people don't have a clue. No clue. They'll say, well, let me read the box with you. I don't need somebody to read the box. I can read the box. I don't need somebody who has no clue to try to interpret something that I know more about than the salesperson. Bob, any comments? Are you finding that you're gravitating?
You must be having an awful time there where you live, but
I am.
I don't know. I've had pretty good interactions with most of the employees. The stores I've been in, they try and help me. And
well, no. I'm not saying not try and help. I'm saying actually knowledgeable and can help you without having to figure out or get on their smartphone and look up whatever your question is. Bob, are you saying that you don't have the problems that I have, that you've got knowledgeable salespeople at most of the big box places?
I tend to work with them, and, I found most of them seem to know, I guess I'm not having quite as bad experience as apparently you're having with stuff.
Bob,
Trevor.
I've had the same bad experiences. I was in Staples yesterday, Saturday, not yesterday. Wanted to buy some paper. I asked the guy, I says, hey, what's the normal sale price? Because it was $56, $59 for a box of paper. Well, I don't know. I said, will you work here? Well, yeah, I'm the assistant manager. I said, so you don't know what the average sale price is? No, I don't. So then he gives me the kid. The kid is like 300 pounds with a little beard he's trying to grow. And he comes and he's like, yeah, I can help you. And I said, he didn't know. And then I said, what's the difference between 92 and 96 brightness? Well, I think it's got something to do with on the box. I think you want the 20 pound. So I think the 20 pound is the weight of the box. And he goes, oh. So now I've got these two great knowledgeable people because only me and Vince apparently attract these simpletons, we'll call them. And I hate to say it that way, but, every time I go in the store, I have to flip a coin. Do I really want the product, or I'm afraid to ask because I'm afraid. And, when I find a guy or a woman that gives the knowledge, I thank them, and I say, I really appreciate that there's still a person like you that can answer the question because you've made my day. And it made their day because I complimented them. But I can't compliment stupidity. Maybe on your side of or where you live, there's a lot smarter people. I don't know that. I find that hard to believe.
Trevor, when we come back, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Trevor, you're on in just a couple seconds. So there's a manufacturing company that I know of that hires young people, college graduates. I'm sorry, high school graduates. And so this manufacturing company has changed names recently. And there's a tour coming up. I know because we got the information from one of the employees that there's this big tour coming up. Probably, my guess is that the new owners are coming to take a look at what they bought. Well, they have 100 pallets of products they can't use. They literally have 100 pallets. Now, a pallet, I know the weight of these pallets. It's about 1,000 pounds each. They have 100,000 pounds of unusable products that they want out of there ASAP, whatever it takes. Get rid of them, get them off the premises because the tour's coming. 100,000 pounds of products. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's usable. It's usable stuff that they can't wait to get rid of. Trevor, your thoughts on what I've said in the last half hour?
Well, why don't they think about our brothers and sisters that are flooded in the middle of the country? Maybe donate and have a heart. But I'd like to say, if I call a business and someone answers, hello, is this a home phone? What about some candor? Hi, thank you for calling XYZ Company. This is Trevor. How may I help you? A little bit of decorum, a little bit of politeness. I think we've been raising a bunch of narcissistic people, and these phones are not helping because they're getting their fix, their dopamine fix through the clicks and through the likes, and they don't really seem disciplined mentally enough to run a company or be trusted to run a company because, like you said, you went in and out of every box you could, and you wanted to know so you could show everyone that you knew. And I feel that they've lost that skill because they can just look it up on their phone, and it's very, very dangerous. It's like having an axe in a monkey's hand. It's not a good idea. And that's how I feel about that. I feel that we've raised a lot of people that I wouldn't trust to drive me home. I would rather drive myself home, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. Let me share something about Trevor. He's our newest instructor here at USA Prepares. And I called Trevor off the air, and I said, Trevor, would you consider doing this for your first broadcast with me? Would you share with us what people who are millennials are thinking, what they're doing, what their reactions are? Just share with us what those opinions are, your observations. And here's what Trevor said, and I'm paraphrasing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Trevor was going to go do a man on the street and ask people, go do a survey to fully complete the task more than I asked him. I just asked him for his opinions. He's actually going to do research. Did I get that right, Trevor, or did I embellish that?
Oh, certainly. I mean, I won't do it in my hometown that I'm currently living in because, quite frankly, I don't trust these people to tell me the weather outside. Mm-hmm. Small town, small mind.
So, Bob, we probably need to move where you are because it sounds like you've got the epicenter of qualified employees.
Yeah, maybe. Come on over and I'll take you around. You can see for yourself.
Well, I'd love to come up, say hi to Joey, and I'd love to come see your operation where you manufacture speaker grills. But if I remember correctly, you're having a tough time finding someone to work with you. Is that true?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So have you found okay. So, Bob, have you found anybody who you would say, I tell you what, there's the phone. If it rings, please answer it. Otherwise, here's the machinery. Here's the presses. Here's the cutting stations. Here's the packing. Here's the shipping. You're ready to go. Is there anybody that you know that could do that job right now with a minimum of training?
No, I imagine they're out there. It's just hard to link up to find some.
Yeah, they're all working at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, and Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Joey, any comments?
Vince, I'm out of comments. I mean, I see what's coming. There's only one way for me to prepare. That's with knowledge. And that's the best I can do. And I mean, if I lead by, if I at least shine the light in my path, others may follow. If not, have a nice day.
Yeah, we've gone Galt. We've all gone Galt. If you want to know what we're talking about, look up John Galt, Ayn Rand. Just look up Going Galt, G-A-L-T. Bob in Michigan, thank you so much for being with us. Trevor in New York, thank you for being with us.
God bless.
God bless. Joey in Michigan, thank you for being with us. I'm Vin Finelli.